Hello, everyone. This is Paulette, and I'd like to thank you for joining in on our YouTube podcast, Women Who Rock. Let's talk about it. Thank you again for just always being so supportive. So many of you have tuned in, and we want to continue to encourage you to join us on this podcast. This month, we have a very special series that we're going to be doing and that we are doing. And the name of that series is called Unbroken Pieces. We're going to be shedding light and awareness on domestic violence and abuse in the home. We have a very, very special guest with us on today. I'm excited that she's here. She's a woman who has gone through and experienced, and she's going to be sharing with us her story and her journey. She out of everything that she's gone through, she was able to birth a ministry, and that she's going to tell us a lot more about it. We'd like to introduce you to a very, very special woman. She's the founder of Before You Say I Do Incorporated, and she's going to be able to share a lot more information on that ministry or foundation. So I'm excited to introduce to you at this time, Evangelist. I'm going to call it Evangelist Dorray Chambers. And so the stage is yours, Evangelist Dorray. We're so excited to have you on this podcast. And we know that this month is a very, very important month, just to
Yes.
really, really shed more light upon domestic violence and abuse in the home. And again, we know that you've gone through your experience and have come out on the other end and
Yes.
able to help other women. Uh,
Yes.
and so I'm going to let you take center stage and talk a little bit about who you are, how you got started, and then talk about your ministry. We want to know more about that as well. And then we'll get into some questions and answer kind of thing. But the stage is yours, Evangelist Ray.
Well, praise the Lord. Thank you, Pastor Paulette, for this opportunity to be able to sit here and have this discussion and share with so many women. But on the other hand, I'm Evangelist Dorray Chambers. I'm the founder of Before You Say I Do Incorporation. I'm a mother, a wife, a grandmother. Part of my ministry is I'm a certified life coach slash relationship coach because that's my specialty. That's where
Yes.
God has led me to
Yes.
go in that area of relationships. And I birthed Before You Say I Do over 20 plus years ago.
Oh, wow.
And
That's
it
awesome.
it came into existence when I was getting married with my first husband. I was married for 25 years to him before we divorced a couple of years ago. Um, the one of the lessons that God wanted me to share and learned from Before You Say I Do Incorporation was I had went to my pastor. I was a new Christian, little new
Mhm.
Christian. So
Mhm.
I went to my pastor and I asked him if he would marry me and my, husband to be. And he said, yes, him and his wife would marry us, but we had to do counseling first. So I said, okay, let me get back with him and we'll set up a date and time. So at that time, I went back to my fiance and I was telling him my pastor, he want to marry us, but he want to counsel us first.
Mhm.
And this is red flag number one for the ladies.
Yeah, yes, yes.
Uh, red flag number one back then. When I went to my pastor to ask him to counsel us, my husband said, my fiance said no. He said,
Mhm.
I don't need a man to tell me how to be a husband. And I said, okay. So I went back to pastor and his wife, and I said, well, he doesn't want to do marriage counseling. And I remember to this day, and I even talked to him and remind him of what he said. He looked me in my eyes and he said, Sister Dorray, are you ready to go through what you're about to go through?
Oh,
And I
wow.
said, yeah, what do you mean? He said, first of all, you guys are unequally yoked.
Mhm.
You're in church and he's not. and he
Okay.
doesn't even want to come to counseling. So me being a little new Christian that I was, I said, okay, God will save him. You know, when God get ready for him, God will save him. Now I'm a new
Mhm.
Christian, just got into church.
Mhm.
And rule number 2 was when my pastor didn't counsel us, God said, share with the women, obey your ruler.
Mhm.
My
Mhm. Mhm.
pastor saw things down the line that I didn't see.
Right.
God had showed him about me and my fiance at the time. So I told my pastor, I said, well, we're getting married anyway. So
Okay.
we went on disobedient. Should have listened to my pastor. I didn't, but I learned them lessons on down the road.
Okay. Yes,
Uh,
ma'am.
we went on and we got married.
Mm-hmm.
And he did marry us. And I
Okay.
understand,
Uh-huh.
that's how before you say I do came in existence. I get there. We eventually got married, and probably about 3 months into the marriage, I began to see some things in the marriage. My husband at that time, he was leaving home 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Attitude just changed. A whole different person. And
Okay.
I went to God and I said, why? Why is this happening? And God said, you remember your pastor
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
telling you, you was unequally yoked. And, I decided to get married anyway. So I said, okay, Lord. And that started happening. Cheating started happening.
Mm-hmm.
He started staying out all night, Pastor Paulette. So much was happening, and God began to show me, this is
Mm-hmm.
from not listening and being disobedient to your pastor.
Okay.
And
Yes.
I, I didn't know what to do because I was brought up in the church. When you get married,
Mm-hmm.
that's till
Mm-hmm.
death do you apart.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I said, Lord, I know this man is cheating. I can't catch him in the act cheating, but I know he's cheating.
Mm-hmm.
There was times, Pastor Paulette, we would be going to church 9 o'clock in the morning. He'll be coming home from the gambling club, then stayed
Okay.
out all night.
Okay.
And I mean, just so much was going on. And I got to the point, this went on for years. And I got to the point to where I got with God and I started praying to God. I said, Lord, why me? Why are you allowing all of this, me to go through all of this? And when I tell you I
Mm-hmm.
went through
Mm-hmm.
so much.
Yes.
A book is coming behind it. Some of the things that I went through.
Yes.
And so I had to stop and focus on what the ministry that God had for me. And in that time, I was going to beauty school,
Mm-hmm.
and just women out of the blue was coming to me, asking me if I could pray for them. And I'm
Okay.
thinking to myself, I'm going through, I need somebody to pray for me.
Uh-huh.
But
Uh-huh.
God said, pray for them.
Mm-hmm.
And they was going through all kind of situations. And he said, when you pray for them, you're going to get your breakthrough. So
Mm-hmm.
I started praying for those women and start mentoring those women and encouraging those women. And
Mm-hmm.
God began to open me up to show me, where I was liking it, the area that I was liking in. And the name before you say I do, over that 20 some year period, I was seeking God about the relationship
Mm-hmm.
because my husband at the time, he had cheated. I just couldn't catch him. He was
Mm-hmm.
smart. I just couldn't catch him.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, my background with my mother and my father wasn't good. My mother died when I was 8 years old. I only
Mm-hmm.
met my dad one time. And I always wanted my kids to have that mom and dad in the household because
Okay.
I didn't have it growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So I put up with a lot of that abuse that my husband did over those 24 years that we was married.
Uh-huh.
One incident was he abused me in front of the kids.
Mm.
And my son is suffering today from that. They saw him hit me and choke me. And I had 4 kids at the time. I got us counseling, but my middle son, he just wouldn't go.
Mhm.
And I would tell him, I said, Wesley, I said, you need to go because you don't want all of that anger against your dad to build up and then it explodes. You know, I
Mhm.
said, you don't want that.
Mhm.
So me and the other 3 kids would go to counseling and he would sit outside. And I just kept telling him, baby, please come to
Mhm.
counseling. You need to talk about it. You know, that wasn't right what he did, but he never would come to counseling.
Mhm.
And a couple of years ago, um, matter of fact, it was 4 years ago, all of that anger that he had and that
Mhm.
abuse he had, that he saw his daddy do to me growing up, it built up in him.
Mhm.
And he attacked his daddy and he hurt his daddy.
Wow.
And to this day, him and his dad's relationship is not where it should be.
Mm. Mhm. Mhm.
And you know, that breaks my heart, but it is
Yes.
so important. Domestic violence is so important. I tell women that I talk to and mentor, do not ignore the red flags.
Yes.
You know, the
Yes.
signs, when you see those signs. And I mentor women that